All right. There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the afternoon experiment. My name is Emanuel Livingston. I am with you until probably 3 o'clock this afternoon. Probably 3 o'clock this afternoon. Oh, got a lot of stuff going on. A lot of things that I wanted to talk about. Excuse me. But come on in. Come on in. I've just finished watching the Lincoln Ware show. He's down there on the riverfront promoting everything that's going to happen out there. So that's a big deal. I think that's a big deal that you know people will be down there enjoying themselves. I'm not actually going to the concert. Mrs. Livingston said, I don't want to be down there in that heat. I respect that. So I'm not actually going to the concert, but we might go walk around and just, see what's going on down there. I think I had a little baby with me this weekend. So she'll be down there walking around with us, being annoying, pleasantly annoying. Like, she eventually she go, I'm tired. And this is going to be a whole ordeal. But yeah, Mrs. Livingston did not want to go to the concert. If she don't want to go to the concert, you know what happens? We don't go to the concert. So that's that. But it's an exciting weekend here in Cincinnati. Come on in, say hello once you come in if you feel so inclined. Andrea, good afternoon. Sean, good afternoon. Robert, throw up the deuces. All right. Anthony, good afternoon. Rick, good afternoon. Tria, she says hello to everyone. Anthony, a different Anthony. This is Anthony Jackson. Mr. Jackson, if you're nasty. He said, good afternoon. And Jackie Jones, he says too hot, which again, I understand that. I understand it. Erica, good afternoon, Erica. Good afternoon. Come on in. Say hello when you come in. And if that's the only thing you want to say, then that's cool. If you want to say more throughout the broadcast, you can. You can also, hold on, let me put the number up. You can also call in. You can also call in. So if you get, feel like you want to call in, call in. Let me bring up the phone just in case somebody decides to call in. Bring up the phone. Let me see. Scott, good afternoon. Candy D, good afternoon. Chantel, good afternoon. Maria, good afternoon. Cleopatra, she said, hey, Cleopatra. Keisha, good afternoon. Brent says, good afternoon. He checking in from Dallas. Brenda, good afternoon. Wendy, good afternoon. I heard Lincoln talking about him driving a Corvette. I'm not impressed. Like I told y'all, if you were on the Lincoln Ware Live, I used to drive a Vet myself. Mine was blue. I used to drive a Vet. I'm not impressed by, I drive a Corvette. I drove a Vet before Vets was, I drove a Vet. Pamela, good afternoon. Joseph, good afternoon. Let me see. Did I say Wendy? Wendy, good afternoon. And Jason, good afternoon. Did I get Angela in there? Angela Rutland, good afternoon. Pamela Kenny, I think I said Joseph Smith, but I'm not 100% sure. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So I got Facebook checking in. I got YouTube checking in. I got to check on my Twitter. I think I'm broadcasting like private broadcasts on Twitter, which is why I don't get any comments from Twitter. And every once in a while I get a little something from Twitch. I have someone viewing on Twitch. You can't beat that. What's up, Twitch? If you are the one person viewing on Twitch, just send in something, say good afternoon or hey or hi or something like that. Just be personable. Let's see. Let me go back. Dwayne, good afternoon. We're not going into the vet story. I'm just saying, I drove a vet. I'm not impressed by somebody saying they drive a vet. Nat, good afternoon. good afternoon. Crystal, good afternoon. Constance, good afternoon. Mary, good afternoon. This is TC, good afternoon. Let me see. The ladies you can pull in a Chevette are of a different quality than the ladies you can pull in a Corvette. That's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily true as long as they haven't seen the vehicle. They could just hear you talking about your vet. That was my experience. They would just hear me talking about the vet and be like, oh, I want to go. And I'll be like, cool. And then, you know, when you pull up to pick them up, when you pull up to pick them up, you get a, you know, an interesting response, but you can still pull them. You can pull them. I'm telling you, as long as they haven't seen it. Anthony, good afternoon. Tina, good afternoon. Diane, good afternoon. All right, all right. Now let me, oh, wait a minute. Brenda, it's true. I'm telling you, it's true. Let me see. There was something that I wanted to start off with, just to kind of throw it out there. I'm laughing about that. Something that I kind of wanted to throw out there. GC, Geneva, good afternoon. Carolyn, good afternoon. Phyllis, good afternoon. I think that's it for the good afternoon. I don't know that I'm going to stop what I'm saying just to say good afternoon anymore. Oh, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I was not here. I was not here. Well, technically, I was here, but I wasn't right here and broadcasting live. Let me clue y'all in or catch y'all up on the saga of the fallen trees, because it has turned into an entire saga. Like initially, I thought a tree fell in my yard and I got to get out there and cut it up. So on Tuesday, I went out there and I started cutting up what I thought was the tree that fell in my yard. Then I figured out it was two trees that had fallen. And so that became an ordeal. And then so I called a few companies like, what do I need to do? How much would y'all charge me to clear these trees? And they was talking like $700 a tree. Like $700 a tree just to, you know, chop it up and haul it away. It's like, oh man. I called my sister who has some rental property and all that kind of stuff. And I know, you know, at one point I lived in one of her rental properties and a tree fell while I lived there. And she had some people and they came out and they cut that bad boy up. I left, I came back. There were no remnants of a tree. So I asked her how much that was. And she was like, and that was, whew, that had to be 12 years ago. And she was like, well, that was only like $600. I said, you said only right in front of $600. You said only right in front of $600 to a dude that's technically unemployed. Nah, I can't do that. So again, I get back out there, I get to cutting, and I get to a point where, you know, now kind of stuff is awkward. It's kind of off the ground-ish, whatever. So I know I just need to pull it out some. I just need to pull it out so that it can, because it was still caught up in the, because there's a number of trees there. So it was still caught up in the trees, both of them. So I go and I strap it to my vehicle, hook it to the vehicle, go to pull it out, and it's going nowhere. It is going nowhere. My wheels are spinning and it's going nowhere. Mrs. Livingston is out there and she's like, hold on, stop. We go and we look. It's 4 trees. It's 4 trees. So this is what happened. 2 trees fell. They fell on 2 weaker trees, but younger trees. The main 2 trees that fell are big old trees. They fell on 2 younger trees, breaking those 2 younger trees, but not all the way. Like the 2 younger trees, because they're younger, they still got some give in them. So those 2 trees just folded over. I don't know why I'm doing this, but those 2 trees folded over, and at the end, they are still connected to the stump. So I have to get up there, and it's probably about 25 feet in the air where they are still connected. So that was why I couldn't pull them, because they're still halfway connected to the stump. And the two larger trees are laying across them. So I got two trees that are down on the ground, mostly. And then two trees that are laid almost perpendicular on top of those trees. And they won't fall down because the two smaller trees are holding up the two bigger trees. So I got to rent a lift. and I did call and ask about that. And that added, of course, now it's 4 trees at like $700 a tree. So now I'm looking at like $2,800. Plus, they got to cut those down. And they like, oh, well, we'll have to assess. It'll probably be more. I'm like, forget it. I'm going to rent a lift. Again, I got 2 chainsaws here. Both of them work just fine. And I know a little something about trees, cutting down trees. When I went to college, lived in Alabama with my Aunt Hattie, we used to, and my cousin, we used to cut down trees. And that was, I got paid to cut down trees, chop them up, and bust them up for firewood. That was what I did for money in college. Well, for a significant amount of time in college. That was what I did for money. What I'm talking about, what I did in Alabama, I'm talking about cut down because, my people, they got, their own land. They got their own land. And so I'm talking about cutting down huge trees, busting them up, cutting them up, busting that wood up, loading it in the truck, taking it to wherever we were going to take it, because people would buy loads of firewood from us, and we would take it and then unload it and stack it in their yard or wherever they wanted it stacked. So I'm familiar, with cutting down trees and doing all of that kind of stuff. I'm familiar with all of that. I did it for actually a few years when I went to college. And so I'm all right. But because it was, kind of in the brush, and it's a lot of vines and stuff, it turned into a whole ordeal. But I'm going to rent a lift that'll get me up there, and then I'll cut those 2 pieces off, cut those 2 trees off. Everything will fall down, and then I'll cut it up, I'll bust it up. And what I'm thinking of doing, I'll haul off the brush, but I think I'm going to just give away the wood. Because, all of these people got fire pits and fireplaces and all of that kind of stuff. And my understanding is wood is expensive. And I was talking to my sister again. I told y'all she's dealt with this a few times. And she said, I had some wood. They wanted to charge her a certain amount to haul it off. She says, and she told her neighbors about it. And her neighbors got together and said, hey, we can use that wood. They all got fire pits and all of that kind of stuff. And they said, we'll come and we'll cut it up if we can take it with us. And she said they did it for free. And she said a few of them actually kind of gave her a little money. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up the trees, clear the brush, haul that off. But I might put an ad in Craigslist or something like that for anybody who wants free wood. It's here. You just got to come and get it and haul it out. And I'm a cut it up. I might even bust it. Busting it might be hard because, again, my wrist still hurts. I really do think I have a broken wrist. I'm going to go get it looked at probably one day next week. But, yeah. So that's the whole saga with the trees. Is Mrs. Livingston okay with you giving away your wood? I'm not giving away her wood. I'm giving away that other wood. She would have a problem with me giving away her wood. You can take away for free over on 32. You can take away for free over on 32. All right. Brent says, when I lived in Atlanta, I got a guy to cut down a 10 40-foot pine trees for $2,100. That was a bargain considering everybody else was talking about $700 to $800 a tree. Yeah, I mean, they talking crazy. It's just straight reckless talking. I'm not paying you $700. And that was just the estimate. That was before they came and actually saw the tree. Because that was their baseline, like $700. But when we get there, depending on everything, it might go up. I'm like, no. Robert said you can dump it for free. I mean, I'm sure I could, but if somebody can use the wood, then I'll give them. They can come and they can haul it off. Let me see. Put your listing in your neighborhood Facebook group. We have a Facebook group for North Avondale, and theirs is a group that includes Clifton, Avondale, and North Avondale. Okay. I'll think about that. Mary says, I paid $700 to get a tree cut down and prune the other trees in my yard last year. Yeah, I've never paid for it. I just hadn't. And so when this happened, again, because, I have a particular set of skills and the tools to do the job. But then I was thinking about it, like, do I really feel like going out there in the heat, cutting up a tree? It's like, it all depends on how much it's going to cost. But when they called me and told me how much it cost, I don't know why, but I felt like going out and doing it myself. I felt like I could accomplish that. So the job is still not done. Again, I got to rent the lift, but the job will get done. So there might be a few days next week when I'm not here as well, but that job will be done by next weekend. It will be complete. Those trees will be gone. That'll be that. You can talk those tree trimmers down on the price. Everything is negotiable. But again, we're talking 4 trees. And I really do. I have some, I have some other trees that are growing a little further into the yard than I would like them to. And renting that lift, it'll give me an opportunity to get up there and kind of trim those. And hauling it out, I got a way to haul it out. I don't mind putting in the work. And cutting it up and doing all of that kind of stuff. Actually, I have pleasant memories when I'm out there, because I remember being out there when they had and with my cousin and all of that kind of stuff. And it's a pleasant feeling. So I don't mind doing the work. I really don't. So I'll trim the branches back and all of that stuff. It'll be done by the end of next weekend. It'll be done. Everything will be gone. So, but I just wanted to kind of let y'all know what was going on, why I wasn't here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I was out there. And yes, I did have that little baby. I had that little baby. She was out there. She was working. Mrs. Livingston and her were helping clear some of the brush. And she was cool with it. She's 4, so she wasn't doing too much, picking up some little sticks and some little leaves and putting them in the bag and all of that kind of stuff. Something for her to do. And then she saw a big grasshopper, and it was a big one. It was a big one. And she was terrified. She don't like bugs anyway. But I kind of talked her around the ants. She see an ant. It's an ant. It's okay. Mrs. Livingston told her how to deal with the ants. She said you can thump it away. She said you can kick it off of something. Or if you just need to, you can kill it. So she was cool with that. But when she saw that daggone grasshopper, she was like, nope, that's it. She was done. She went in the house and she watched from the window, and that was that. She was real clear. She didn't want to deal with that walking leaf bug. So that was that. That was the end of her help. But she did a good job helping. Are you going to post a picture of the trees? I might post a picture of the trees. I might actually take a picture of what's out there right now, because it doesn't look anywhere near as bad as it did, because I've put in work clearing some of that stuff. And nothing fell on any of the cars either, which was amazing, because it fell right there over where a couple of the cars is. And those trees holding everything up, the smaller trees, kept everything from falling on the cars. So I had to move the cars out. And then when I cut it, just let everything fall. So I can't complain too much because I could have had 2 crushed cars under wood. And so that didn't happen. So you can't beat it. It fell in the best possible way. And the situation is the best possible situation that it could be. The best possible situation that it could be. Child labor law is going to get you. Pay her with glitter, slime, and LOL dolls. I think labor laws only count like you can't have an employee, and she was not employed, thus not getting paid. So I think I'm cool on the labor laws. As long as you just forcing a little kid to do work that you have some control over, I think you're good on the labor laws. I think you're good. Now, if you're like, hey, I'll pay you for this, now you might be subject to some labor laws. But if you just like, get out here and do this because you my grandchild, you good. So I think I won't pay her because then I might fall under labor laws. She eat when she here. That's good. Did I save the moped? The moped is in the garage, so that there was no concern about that. No concern about that. But all right. GC says she's so adorable. She is. She can be annoying too because she's headstrong. That's what they call it. I say she's just a little stubborn and rotten sometimes. Like I told her, this is just a little simple thing. I say, go close the door, leading to the upstairs area. She came upstairs. She left the door open. Close the door. She was like, the door is open. I said, right, I want you to close it. She said, but it's open. I said, I know it's open because you left it open. I want you to close it. But the door is open. She just kept repeating that the door is open. I said, all right, look, here's what's about to happen. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go down there. And if that door is open, me and you about to have a problem. So then she went and she closed the door. But because she's so stubborn, she just stood there. She didn't want to come back upstairs because she had to do what I told her to do. So she didn't want to come back upstairs and had to face me, knowing that she had to do what I told her to do. So she just standing at the bottom of the stairs next to the door, closed, with her arms folded, waiting for me to get up so she can, I don't know what, say I did it or whatever. And I'm like, what? What would you? Why wouldn't you just close the door? Why do we have to beef about everything? Do what I say do, and then we won't have no problems. But no, she always got, not always, but she get in her moods where she don't want to do what I tell her to do. And then when I force her to do it, which of course I'm going to force her to do it, she have an attitude. So I don't know what that's going to mean later in life, but hold on. Somebody said something about my hair. All these projects you're doing, E-Man, and you forgot to dye your hair as gray as hell. I'm not going to dye my hair. Not going to dye my hair. Period. Ain't going to happen. I don't know why. Why are people so, and not just, but people really are, what's the point of dyeing my hair? What would be the point in that? I'm not all caught up in it. And this is the way my hair grow out of my head. All right, hold on a second. We go here, and we go here. CK.
You doing, Mr. Livingston?
CK, you're on the afternoon experiment. What's on your mind?
Man, hey, man, I'm trying to figure this out. So, did you have a grandfather in your life?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I said, man, you hit it. Hey, you hit the nail on the head with this one. I said, now that's a real grandfather memory. You remember when you were just a little guy when Grandpa had out there cutting them trees down? That's a real grandpa, eh?
Oh yeah, she definitely, when I'm gone, whenever that is, she definitely gonna have some memories of her grandfather. We got into a fight yesterday, and she was really trying to take me down.
Hello?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You still here?
Yeah, I'm there, man. My bad. I'm sorry. I had the GPS thing on.
Oh,
But I'm glad because I mean you doing the right thing with this with how you raising raising the youth because you're doing it properly. Because like you said, you got to put the real memories in. That's real traditional values you're putting in. You know the wood chopping, but you just got to make sure you know how it is out there, man, with that tree because they charge so much because of the danger.
all right. I mean, it's only dangerous, I say, if you don't know what you're doing. Like, I could easily see somebody getting hurt doing it. I refuse to let myself get hurt doing it because I have an idea of what I'm doing, and I'm not going to do anything that puts me in an unsafe position. So,
And you said the tree fell down at your house?
actually, 2 trees fell on 2 other trees. So I got 4 trees
Whoa.
that's coming down. And when I was out there doing it, I even made a post like, look, this is worth $700. I'm not mad at the people for saying $700 because
Okay.
if you CK said to me, hey, I got this tree on the ground I need cut up, and I'm out there cutting that tree up, the work itself is worth the money. So I'm not complaining that they're charging too much. I'm just complaining because I don't feel like paying that much when I can do it myself. And like I said, it's 4 trees.
So,
That's $2,800. I'm technically unemployed. I ain't got no $2,800 to be spending when I can do it myself.
yeah. And then, like you said, the skills you're acquiring and teaching. You're acquiring skills and teach them things that you know what I mean has to be passed down in the black community. You know what I mean? And this is like the basic instinct giving your family. You know what I mean? We lost the instinct with the power of money. We lost cutting down the tree. So sometimes, like you said, if I can't afford it, it's good because it's going to empower me and empower more people in the family with the skill level of tree cutting. You know, this is why when you see women, you know, deep in their life, and it's like, man, how did you get into this business? Oh, grandpa was 4 years old. Remember? Yeah. It's influence. Everybody can't do the same profession. Some of us are, branch off, no pun intended, to others and business and become millionaires from the black community, like Cincinnati. You know what I mean? And you're planting the seed of greatness. You don't even know it. That's why our culture is so good because some of us are in positions where, like you said, okay, I can't afford to pay, but I can afford to teach and learn a skill. You know, after 4 trees, you're gonna be ready to go in the tree cutting business.
No, I
You see
ain't.
what I mean?
No, I am not. But I do see what you mean. Yeah, I do. I see what you mean.
Oh, you not feeling it for paper making situation?
Yeah, no,
You wouldn't get into that?
I've done that before. It is difficult work. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's difficult work when you cutting down a tree, throwing it where you want it, and cutting it up. Let alone some tree done fell in somebody's yard, and you got stuff that you got to work around. And I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah, but like you said, that's an active guy, and like you said, it was a perfect fall. We need perfect falls because we don't need the opposite because we lost some great people because of trees falling here in the city.
CK, you got me on speaker or something like that?
Nah, man, I'm talking through the regular thing, man. What it sound like?
I mean, somebody said, sound like you put the phone in your pocket. It sound muffled.
My bad. That probably my raggedy AC. That was my raggedy AC, man. But yeah, I just want to tell you that this is how. Remember when I told you a couple months back? This is how you stop the violence by instilling skills into the people. Until you got to put the groundwork in, and like I said, we just so going off of the phone and Wi-Fi that we can't learn the skills like roofing. You know what I'm teaching my niece the roofing game. So that's why I was inspired by your story because we get these young girls into these fields, these construction fields, and they can take over because if you think about it, the women are better leaders than the men because they're more level-headed. We get a little too emotional.
I don't know.
So I
agree
think
with
it's
that,
good
all
when.
right. All right. Hey,
You don't think that's the case? No, the men are too emotional. You see, we take our emotions and let it destroy the whole situation. Women, you have to usually get them to level the playing field back out. Because the men, it'd be a personal vendetta. That's why, that's why a lot of innocent people, get in trouble because you have personal vendetta. So women are, more of a smooth route, like bipartisan. I think. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, keep up the good work. You know what I mean? And you're gonna keep the violence down. Like I told you, you're gonna bring the violence down one murder at a time. Yep.
stuff like that. There's a little baby, little 4-year-old. I'm going outside to do something. Mrs. Livingston is coming outside to help. So she coming outside with us. And we're going to work together and have fun. So that's on the way I think about it. And I guess, you learn lessons from that. You learn lessons from that. She was asking questions. Oh, this is a chainsaw. This is how it cut. This is how it did it. Well, these are the shears. This is how they cut. This is a hedge trimmer. This is how this cut. Yeah, she was asking questions. So, yeah, I'd imagine she could learn something from it. But, I mean, she's 4. She's 4. I had a few more because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about that. I had a few more stories that I saw that caught my attention, excuse me, that I wanted to discuss with you. A few things that caught my attention that I wanted to discuss with you. Hold on, I'm going to mute this mic and clear my throat like all the way, and then we'll keep going. All right, there we go. A few things that caught my attention that I want to discuss. Did y'all see this story about Marco Rubio and this group of Republicans? They proposed this bill that would entitle a pregnant person to child support payments before giving birth. Basically, it would make a man pay for child support from the month of conception. The Unborn Child Support Act would allow a person to collect prenatal child support beginning the month of conception. And the payments could be retroactive, meaning a person could collect child support back pay if paternity was not established until after birth. This bothers me. This bothers me for so many reasons. For so many reasons, this bothers me. Which do I want to talk about first? It bothers me, just the concept itself. The concept itself bothers me. The idea that you have to pay child support, or you could be forced to pay child support or back child support before the child is born. And look, I get it. I was on here just the other day, which this is part of what they're doing, saying, I believe it's a life at that point. It's a life at that point. And I might even be down with, you have to, pay half of the prenatal care. Half of the prenatal care, but not child support. Not child support. But you might get me with half of prenatal care if you know that you have a woman pregnant. When you find out she's pregnant, she go to the doctor, you're responsible for half of the care that she has to receive as it's related to the child. I might be okay with that. Someone says, right, father doesn't even know it's his yet. As long as there's a provision in there for if it turns out, because again, I believe you should have to get a DNA test when the child is born. So I get Mrs. Livingston pregnant. Mrs. Livingston have to go to the doctor. I have to pay half of her neonatal care. That's what they call it. Neonatal care visits and all that stuff. I'm cool with that. Then Mrs. Livingston had a baby and turned out I'm not that baby daddy. I'm sorry, Mrs. Livingston, you got to pay me my money back. That's the way it should be. So I'm cool with it. Pay it. We'll get the DNA test when the child is born. If it turns out it's not my baby, I get my money back. I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. I don't know that I'm all right with if she's pregnant and I don't know it's my baby, then she come back a year later talking about this is your baby. I had no idea. And I got to pay a year and 9 months worth of back child support. I'm not all right with that. I'm not all right with that. That don't sound right. That don't sound right. I don't like this at all. But here's the main thing that I don't like about it. They're not for real about it. They're not for real about it. They're not like, this isn't true to what they feel or believe. This is a response to, they overturned Roe v. Wade. And then people are criticizing them like, oh, y'all want to make these women have these babies and y'all say this is a life, but what are y'all doing for the life? Y'all don't provide no care for the child. Once the child is born, y'all don't provide no care for the child. And so this is their response like, oh, we care about the child. As a matter of fact, we're going to make the father pay child support. That's all this is. That's all this is. They know this is not going to pass, but this gives them the cover to say, no, we really do believe it's a life. As a matter of fact, we are trying to pass a law that says you get child support for that child. It's their response to all of y'all who don't like the fact that Roe v. Wade was overturned and the criticism that you guys have been levying towards the Republicans. That's what this is. Hold on, let me see. But so, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. And I don't like that. Don't be playing games. Jason says, where's this at? Well, it's the United States. It's in the United States. This is a bill that's been proposed by U.S. Senator Marco Rubio. So he's proposing this bill, which I imagine they'll introduce in the Senate if he gets enough people to sign on with him and draft this bill. This would be some legislation put forth by Senator Marco Rubio and presumably some other senators. Yeah, this is what they're trying to do. This is what they're trying to do. GC says, I mean, they want to try to put a law in about paying prenatal child support, but they don't give the man the right to say if the woman can have an abortion or not. This place is crazy. Republicans could have pushed this legislation a long time ago for maternity child support if they were real about it. They're not real about it. Jason says, oh, federal law. Let's play chess. The king, now the pawn. They say, yeah, don't fix a broken system, break it some more. And again, they're not real about it. This is not something that they genuinely want to see happen. This is just their response to criticism that they're receiving. And I think that's horrible. You don't propose bad legislation because people are criticizing another piece of bad legislation. That's just bad. So I saw that story and I don't like it. I don't like it. And back child support. I mean, if you think of the ramifications of this, think of the potential ramifications. Let me see. So I think I'm the daddy. So I pay my prenatal child support. And since we don't have a system where you have to have DNA testing, and then at some point, 5 years down the line, I find out I'm not that baby daddy. I'm not that baby daddy. So now I don't want to pay child support no more. Can she go find the real baby daddy and get from prenatal child support up now? Maybe she had to pay that dude back. Maybe not. It just is not. It's just not right. It's just not right. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. You can get a DNA test while pregnant. Man, if ain't nobody, people not gonna do that. Well, I mean, I guess people do it, but people not gonna do that. Anything to avoid responsibility. I don't know that anyone's trying to avoid responsibility. Like I said, I'm 100% on board with have to pay half of the prenatal care. That's my child, and I have to pay half of the prenatal care. I'm cool with that. And then once the child is born, child support. I'm all right with that. Like I genuinely don't have a problem with that. Now I do think kind of what GC was alluding to. If I'm paying half of the prenatal care, I think I should have a say on whether or not that child is actually born. Like you can't decide however many weeks in or whatever, months in, whatever. If I'm paying prenatal care, I don't want this child. You can't make that decision without me. Because if we doing this, in my mind, this is you acknowledging that this is a child and it is half your responsibility. I don't like that terminology. It's fully my responsibility and fully yours, but you know what I'm saying when I say half. So if you accepted money from me to pay for the care for this child, then you're acknowledging that I am just as responsible for this child as you are. So any decision that gets made about this child got to be both of us. So I think if they're going to do that, you got to add that in there. You got to add that in there. Jason said, now you're telling them what to do with their bodies. No, I'm telling them what to do with my child that I'm supporting, that I'm paying half of the care for. You taking money from me to say this is my responsibility, then daggone it, it's my responsibility. It's my responsibility. You can't do the my body thing because you're responsible for that, for your body. But if you're making me responsible for the child in there, you're acknowledging that it's a life and you're acknowledging my role and responsibility in it. So I'm with it if they're going to go all the way. Well, I'm kind of with it if they're going to go all the way. I don't like the idea at all. But like I said, more than anything, I don't like the fact that they ain't even really serious about it. They ain't even really serious about it. It's a way to deal with the criticism that they've been receiving. Brent says, in Missouri, a pregnant wife can't get a divorce. Okay. Wait till you had a baby and get the divorce. Some of these probably like I get, okay, that's an issue, but it's a simple issue to handle. I want a divorce. But a pregnant woman don't have to stay and live in the house with the dude. Don't have to stay and live in the house with the dude. So you move out. Then once you had a baby, you get a divorce. That seemed like a simple solution to that problem. Sound like folks better do better with who they choose to have sex with. Yeah. Yeah. And again, this don't cover the whole issue of abortion. Because there's still like the 10-year-old in Ohio who was raped and had to go to Indiana to get the abortion. There's still going to be stuff like that happens. There's still going to be stuff like that happens. But if you're talking about requiring me to pay prenatal child support, Diva says that's not how any of that works. That's exactly how that works. Don't take my money if I don't have no say. If I have no say, don't take my money. But if you take my money, I got some say. And that's just period. That's when the child is born. If I'm paying child support, I got some say. When a child is a teenager, if I'm paying child support, I got some say. I got some say. If I ain't got no say, what they say is just sign my rights away, along with my responsibility, because they go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. Hand in hand. They go hand in hand, if you ask me. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. GC says you do have some say. Yeah. Yeah. And again, this is all predicated on if I'm paying child support. They take our money in taxes and we don't have a say. You do have a say. You vote. You vote. You have a say. Man, I wish the court seen it how you do. They take your money and say it's what mom says. Yeah, you got to fight that stuff, man. You really do. You got to fight that stuff. I'm a big believer in fighting for your rights. Also, this story caught my eye. This story caught my eye. And 513-717-5464. 513-717-KING, if you'd like to call in. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to argue no more. Because, I know I do this from time to time. I'm not going to argue with you via your comment that you typed in. If you want to argue, you can call 717-5464. And we can debate, not argue. We can debate it. But I'm not going to go back and forth with you too much just via your comments. You can call 717-KING and we can get into it. But I'll still read your comments, but I'm just not going to. That's a part of the fact that that's why I went and got the number, so we can have interaction. So we could have some interaction. This story caught my attention as well. Look, y'all, we live in a world where crazy stuff is happening. And some of this stuff is exceptionally confusing to people. Let me see. A transgender woman inmate in New Jersey has been transferred to a men's prison. Now, this is a man who says, I identify as a woman and I am transitioning into a woman. So this man transitioning into a woman got put because they say that they are transgender into a woman's prison. Well, now they are transferring this person to a man's prison. And the reason, of course, people aren't happy about it, but they got a good reason. The reason that they are transferring this person to a man's prison is because this person impregnated 2 women at the woman's prison. Yeah, I'm not making this up. Demi Minor, 27, had consensual sex with 2 women at the women's prison and got 2 women pregnant. So they say, we got to transfer you to the men's prison. And people are a little up in arms about it. People are up in arms about it. Now, what is the prison system supposed to do at that point? You say, okay, we put you in the men's prison and you say it was bad for you. So we put you in a women's prison. And you fucking all the women in the women's prison, getting them pregnant. So we can't just leave you there getting chicks pregnant in prison. We can't just leave you there. So what we gonna do? We gotta put you back in the men's prison. We gotta put you back in the men's prison. That is only reasonable. That's only reasonable. In April, 2 women at the prison had become pregnant through consensual relationships with a trans prisoner, later identified as minor. Of course, the state prohibits even consensual sexual relationships among prisoners, but who's really there policing that? You know. She's now been transferred to a vulnerable inmates unit at Garden State Youth Correctional Facility, which houses young adults. Minor is serving a 30-year sentence for manslaughter. The state had agreed to house most trans prisoners according to their gender identity and to provide gender-affirming care under a settlement in June of 21 with a trans woman who sued. The woman said she was harassed and assaulted by both staff and fellow inmates when housed with male prisoners. The settlement required the state to keep the policy in place for at least a year. Well, that year is up, but the New Jersey Department of Corrections is continuing to operate under that policy, although it plans to make minor modifications. Now, it's unclear if minor, the woman who got the other women pregnant, let's see how ridiculous that sounds. Like, I'm not even anti y'all transgender people. Y'all can do what y'all want to do. I don't care. It ain't me. But to tell me that I have to call a man who is saying inside he feels like a woman, but having sex with women and getting them pregnant, and when I talk about it, I have to say the woman who got the other women pregnant, that makes no sense. It makes no sense. That's a man. That's a man. So it's unclear if minor was on hormone therapy, which likely would have prevented him, they say her, from being able to impregnate anyone. And then after the pregnancies came to light, minor and the 2 other women were placed in some form of solitary confinement. And minor told that she was a security threat and given notice that she would be transferred. Now, people are saying, look, this could mean the loss of her access to hormones, gender-affirming items, gender-appropriate housing, and surgery. And they're saying, to be clear, this facility has housed pregnant inmates before. And this facility has caught inmates in romantic relationships before. And none of this ever constituted a security threat before. That's different. It's different if a woman comes in and she's pregnant, so you're housing a pregnant woman. It's different if 2 women are having sex and you catch them in a romantic relationship and you're like, no doing it in here. That's different than a man in there hitting women, getting them pregnant. That is totally different. They're not the same. Minor wrote that she hanged herself in the van that was transporting her from this facility to Garden State. She was placed on suicide watch when she arrived at Garden State. She also said she was beaten during the transfer and that she's been harassed by inmates at Garden State. Additionally, several prisoners at this facility have accused staffers of sexual abuse and exploitation. Some of this stuff is just, You almost like you can't make this stuff up. So now what do? To not receive the criticism that they're gonna, or that they are and have been receiving from this. Now what do? Because if you put him in with women, he's clearly sexually attracted to women. Clearly he's sexually attracted to women. So you put him in with women, some stuff gonna happen. Because again, you can't police them 24/7. And come on, we all know, we all grown, we all know you can sneak and do it. You can sneak and do it. You messed it up, minor. You messed it up for yourself. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure that I can blame you. I'm not sure that I can blame you. You put me in a prison with nothing but women, it's gonna be some good looking ones in there. Somebody gonna come in there and I'm gonna be like, oh. And then if they won't, you know what I'm saying? Some wood. Y'all know my position on wood. Come and get the wood if you want the wood. Just come on and get the wood. I can't blame minor for, you know what I'm saying, his natural inclinations. But I think we do have to accept and acknowledge that this is his natural inclinations. Because you're a dude. You're a man. I'm a transgender. I still have a penis. And just because I'm transgender doesn't mean that I'm attracted to. See, stop. You're trying to confuse everybody. You're a man. You a man with a penis and you like women. And you like to have sex. I don't know who we tripping. Who we tripping? That's not even a saying. Who we tripping? Why are we tripping? Sounds like the trans took one for the team to be able to be transferred to where he really wanted to be, a male institution. I don't think that's where they wanted to go. I don't think that's where they wanted to go. A woman is always going to be a woman in my eyes, and a man is always going to be a man. They could give minors some of that saltpeter that they give folks enlisted in the military. I don't know nothing about that. I never been in the military, and I don't know that. And I'm saying I don't know. I don't believe that there's anything other than what they call it chemical castration that you could give me to stop my man from getting excited. I don't think there's anything you could give me. You put the right woman, you put Mrs. Livingston in front of me. I don't care what you've had me ingest. But my man gonna stand up like, oh, look at that. I don't believe it. If you are sexually attracted to women, you are sexually attracted to women. Say he in there surrounded by chicks who ain't had none. And he's still a him. So at shower time, they know his parts work. Yeah. I'm telling you, he will be transferred and will be married within 6 months in the joint. I'm just saying, we got to figure out, for whatever strange reason, what we doing about trans in certain situations. Something does need to be figured out. When they would go out on a submarine or go out on long trips at sea, they would give them that. It was an option. That's no option to me. That is no option to me. Because I wouldn't trust you giving me something that made me not be able to get an erection. We can say erection, we grown. I don't trust you giving me something that suppresses my erection. That's number one, that just seems so unnatural. Who wants to suppress an erection? Maybe when I was 12 and got called up to the board, I wish that my erection had been suppressed. but no other time in my life. And I wouldn't trust anything that's going to suppress me getting an erection. What if it don't? Well, if you stop taking it, then you'll get your erection back. I don't trust that. I don't trust it. And I like my erections. No, I'm not. I'm not trusting it. Not trusting it at all. So if the dudes on the submarine or out on long trips at sea, I would have been the one like, nope, not me. I ain't trusting y'all nothing. Anthony says they were dumb as hell for even putting him in there, still having male parts. Sure, the pregnant women will sue the state and get paid. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, got a call coming in. Let's take a call. Marquetta.
You got my number plugged in. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, and you?
Happy, was it Friday, and it's the Jazz Fest weekend. You going?
No, we might go down there just to walk around and kind of hang out a little bit, but we're not going to the concert.
I love the Jazz Festival weekend too, where everybody come out and you get to see all the black people, and they be having on their all white and stuff, making white people mad. It'd be so cute and funny. I called in because I keep telling you, being trans does not mean you are gay.
Right.
I don't know how wide your circle is, but it's a lot of trans women who are married to biological women. So you could be in a marriage with a man and he presents as a traditional masculine man for your family, but in the privacy of his friendships and within his home or maybe his social circle, he may put on a dress, put on a wig, and identify as a woman.
Which is why you shouldn't have people who were men, especially with they still, you still got a working penis, shouldn't be in a prison with women.
Yeah, gotta agree with that. Gotta agree with that. And it was a professor arguing with Senator Hawley. She was a professor at Berkeley, and she was arguing, saying, basically the language that we use is abusive towards the trans community because we're saying that men can't get pregnant. And the reality is men can't get pregnant. Biological females who present as men can get pregnant, but they would have to turn down their hormones in order to let their estrogen levels support the pregnancy. But that's very common. Transgender females in relationships. You used to watch Jerry Springer? You ever watched Jerry Springer?
I've watched Jerry Springer, yes. Entertaining show.
He used to have a really popular trans character named Brittany. Brittany was a transgender female, but she was always in a relationship with other women. But she presented as a female or woman, but she lived as a woman, but in relationships, she was in heterosexual relationships, So, and then on the pregnancy too, I just got to keep going there with you.
All right.
You don't get to, just because you're financially responsible does not mean, unfortunately, it does not mean that you get to come in and dictate anything.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
You're just financially responsible.
No,
yeah.
If I am financially responsible, I am being responsible. I'm being held responsible. And so with that responsibility comes certain rights. And
who said that? Where is that written? Who told you that?
I'm telling you that. It ain't got to be written nowhere. I'm telling you, the common sense tells you that. Common sense tells you that.
I don't know if you've ever been to a child act, because what you're talking about now is a hypothetical scenario, possible bill signing. But as we have it right now, the child court will tell you, once the child support order is established and that medical support is established, if the mother or the parent or the primary guardian decides, if they so decide, they don't want to be bothered outside of that, and it happens. They can deny you that visitation. They can, because legally you don't have, once that sperm leaves your body and it enters into somebody else's body, you lose legal rights over that sperm unless you have a legal binding contract with that person, like a marriage contract. Otherwise, you got to go to family court and fight for your right. And if you don't do what you're supposed to do financially, again, the courts will step in. They'll, and I always tell brothers this, and take your due process.
Hold on, let me pause you for a minute, because you said something there that's very key. You said you have to go to family court and fight for what?
Rights over your sperm.
That means you have them. You just have to make the state and the people acknowledge them. They're there. You just have to make the people acknowledge them. That's the only reason you go to court. You don't go to court for the court to create rights. You go to court for the court to acknowledge your rights.
I don't know, because again, the child is in a family court, but when you have these illegitimate children, you have these children outside of marriage, there is no real family. You understand? There's no legally binding thing that makes you family. That child, even though it's a child legally and you're the parents legally, there is a guardian and there is an absentee parent. The absentee parent, for whatever reason, I just had this conversation earlier this morning with a group of young people. Brother said he popped his child upside his head. His baby mommy took him to court, and now he can't see his kid. But every two Sundays out the month with supervision, well, you put your hands on the kid, But I understand the angst, but you don't got no rights. You don't have no rights.
Yes, you do have rights, and you have to go to court and you have to fight for those rights. It's a shame that you have to go to court and fight for those rights, but you clearly have rights. Otherwise, when you went to court, the court would say, bro, you ain't got no rights. Get out of here. That would be the end of it.
They tell you that. They will tell you that. The first thing they want to know is the financial support. The only thing really the state and the government want is to know who is financially supporting this child. As far as emotional, physical, loving environment, the well-being, the long-term development of the child, when you go to court, they want you to have family counseling. You need some parental training, possibly. It's whatever the guardian dictates. Another case would be Cora Jakes. T.D. Jakes' daughter did this to a woman. So while she was pregnant, she had already had too many kids. She was going to have another baby. Cora Jakes stepped in and said, well, give me the baby. I'll raise the baby as mine. I'll take care of the child, take that off of you. And the woman thought, sure, she didn't think she was going to legally be giving this woman her child. But because Cora Jakes could provide a better, and this is her biological child, because Cora Jakes could provide a better environment for that child financially, morally, had a married home, etc. She was able to gain custody and take the rights of that baby from the biological mom. So a lot of that, the courts can dictate, like I said, who the family is based off of who can provide a safe a safe place, love, adequacy, all of that. All of that is considered by a judge or a magistrate. And that's why it's so important for men to talk to men about, and women, we can talk to each other till we are weak in, but it's the men who send that sperm out into the ovum. It's you who create that person. Essentially, once you ejaculate into a woman, she possibly get pregnant, you lose a lot of your rights. And it's not physical stuff. You don't pay your child support, you can lose your driver's license. They can take away your taxes. If you haven't paid vacation in a long time, they can arrest you on site, again, without due process.
But just so you know, that goes both ways. See, that's not just that's all in what you're saying. I can get custody of my child, and then that woman is subject to all of those same penalties. It's not a matter of me as a man not having that we call the justice system have a problem acknowledging many times the rights of men, but it's not that they don't have.
It was a brother whose kids were killed by their parental biological court case here in Cincinnati, demanding, I got rights. These are my children. I haven't seen them. She won't let me see them. I don't know what's going on. He took it to court as long as he could. Being that she was the biological guardian, she got up and left, moved to Kentucky kids before the courts could give him any type of justice. So many cases of biological parental mothers actually killing their children. Fathers are seeking custody or trying to get involved in their life somewhere because, like I keep saying, you don't have any rights until the court, the magistrate, the judge come in and establish your right as a legal parent, unless you have other forms of legal documentation backing you up as a part of that child's family. That's those rights that you would normally have are either limited or restricted.
Honestly, I just think you're looking at it wrong. You're saying you don't have rights until basically the courts say you got rights. I'm saying you got rights. You just have to fight for the court to acknowledge the rights that you already have. Because I got rights, period. The court doesn't give me rights. I have rights, just God-given rights or just human rights or whatever. I have them already. The court just acknowledges them. The court doesn't actually give them to me. So that's the only, I think we're saying kind of the same thing. Just you're saying the court gives you rights. I'm saying I have them. The court may acknowledge them, but I already have them.
But and this is my last point with you. If you notice, the conversation is going on around Roe v. Wade. The reason that conversation is important is what you just said. You have these certain unalienable rights that the Creator endows you with: life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, etc. But then the Bill of Rights steps in. The Bill of Rights and their amendment steps in because the so-called founding fathers didn't enumerate each right that humans have. So within that 14th Amendment, they begin to make new rights. Gay people have the right to marriage, even though they had to fight in the court for that. They can still love each other and be cohabitating and consider each other husband and wife. But when the state or the government doesn't recognize their union, then they lose benefits like death benefits, life insurance, health insurance, stuff like that. So they had to fight to make their rights known or to get those rights. Same thing with the abortion thing. Everybody will say the Constitution doesn't guarantee you a right to an abortion. Doesn't guarantee you a right not to have an abortion either. It's, again, an unnamed, enumerated right that in the 14th Amendment clause says we write in this in, because these is one of them things that God just, just put it in. And that's all I wanted to say. You enjoy your weekend with your lady. I hope y'all get out and get some of the sun, get some dancing, smile at some other Black people, let them smile at you, take some pictures. And everybody in Cincinnati, y'all have a good, safe weekend. Thanks, man.
All right, Marquetta. That's Marquetta. I agree with her. I think we're saying the same thing different ways. Okay, now I had a few people say that they're having a problem with some blotchy reception. So let me do something and see if I can fix that. Give me about 60 seconds. I'm going to disappear. I'm not magic. It's the magic of video. So when I disappear, I'm not a wizard. All right. So I'm going to disappear and then give me about 60 seconds and I'll be right back. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let's see that. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that. All right. That should have fixed it. So hopefully we don't have any more blotchy reception. Whew. And I apologize for that. But okay, yeah, I think we were kind of saying the same thing, just a different way. You have those, the term sheet, inalienable rights. You just got to fight to make the court acknowledge them. But you got rights. You got rights. Men, don't let these women tell you that you don't have rights when it comes to your children. Don't fall for that trick. Don't let the court trick you out of your rights, because along with rights come those responsibilities. Don't let the court trick you out of them. That's a big fly. Don't let the court trick you out of them. Don't let no woman trick you out of them. We talking about your children. Your children. Fight for them. If you got to fight for them, fight for them. And there was a fly flying around in my studio. So I got my spray. I don't know where it is. It's one really big fly. Got in and I ain't been able to get him. And now he done made his way down here. He was all the way upstairs. You see, there's a few more stories that I wanted to discuss with you. Hold on. Got him. Got him. Few more stories that I wanted to discuss with you. One of George Floyd's killers, Thomas Lane, sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for his role in killing George Floyd. Now he's the rookie who, of course, held his, I don't remember if he held his legs but he held him down. He, along with Tu Tao and Alexander Kung, they were convicted, which I didn't know. I believe it or not, I hadn't followed it like I thought I would. But they got convicted of violating Floyd's civil rights. He's being sentenced separately because he changed his plea to guilty to reduce his charge of aiding and abetting manslaughter. So he ended up getting only 2.5 years in prison. 2.5 years in prison. Do you think that was enough time? Do you think that was enough time? 2.5 years. Now, again, remember, he was the rookie. If Chauvin says hold him down. So he holds him down and Chauvin ends up killing him. Do you think 2.5 years was enough? Hold on, Anthony's saying something here about he's replying to something else. He said, don't believe that is correct, bro. I have to look it up again unless they have changed it. Was it court custody hasn't been established yet, married or not? Police looked at a family court issue, not kidnapping. Okay, he's talking about something else. Mary says 2.5 years is not enough. Now, remember, I was kind of torn. At one point, I was saying I wasn't even sure that those officers should have been charged with anything because they were young rookies following orders. And I mean, if I recall watching, I don't remember which video, it was a body cam or something. One of them was saying like, hey, I think something's wrong with him. I think he needs some medical help. And Chauvin, being the senior officer on the scene, is like, basically, nah, I got this. You just do what I told you to do. So 2.5 years. I don't know. Nat is replying then to him. He says, I went through it for 3 years and have full custody. In Ohio, unless you are married, the woman has full custody. Oh, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. But I say I'm not sure because, when I had my child, I was married. So I'm not sure. Brent says if Chauvin got 10 years, the other 3 officers getting around 25% of that sentence sounds about right. Floyd received a death sentence. He did. So what are you saying? Definitely not 2.5 years. They stood by and did nothing. I understand that mindset as well. I understand it. There is something to be said about, and I'm glad that they're not getting off scot-free. But I think you do have to take into account they were rookies. They weren't being violent, like they weren't holding him and socking him. They were holding him. They weren't I see both sides, and it's hard to argue that 2.5 years is enough, but I do understand it. I get it. Mary says they should do at least 5 years. So you're saying, even taking into account, these are rookies. They're following orders of a superior officer. They're not being violent towards the guy. They're holding him down, because that's what they were ordered to do. They even at one point speak up and say, hey, I think he needs some medical attention. You're saying, even with that, taking all that into account, 5 years. Okay. I won't argue about it. I'm not going to argue about it because I just can't. His attorney, Earl Gray, has argued that the rookie was the least culpable of the 4 officers involved in Floyd's death under Derek Chauvin's knee, a killing that sparked protests. Gray argued during the trial that Lane did everything he could possibly do to help George Floyd. He pointed out that Lane suggested rolling Floyd on his side so that he can breathe. He was rebuffed twice. He also noted that Lane performed CPR to try to revive Floyd after the ambulance arrived. Lane testified he didn't realize how dire Floyd's condition was until paramedics turned him over. Now, the prosecutor, she said his expressions of concern showed that he knew Floyd was in distress, but did nothing to give Floyd the medical aid he knew that he needed. So does that matter at all? The fact that he said, and I remembered it once, but the fact that he said on multiple occasions, like, bro, let's just roll him over on his side. Like, he got to be able to breathe. Let's just roll him over on his side. And then the other officer says, no, we good right here. He good. I'm looking at him. He good. And then later on, he like, can we just roll him over? Like, shouldn't we be, you know what I'm saying? I've been trained this way. Like, shouldn't we be rolling him on his side so he can breathe? And then the other officer who's been there for however many years say, no, cuz we good. He good. I'm looking at him. He good. You just do that. You're a rookie. I know what I'm doing. He didn't use those terms, but, that's kind of what's communicated to him. Black Lions say they all need to do the same time for the same murder they acted in. just like they charge black people. I guess I can't really argue with that. I can't argue with that. I understand that mindset. One of the cops even asked, should we turn him over? That should be considered. I agree with you. And yeah, that was what his attorney said. On multiple occasions, he said, can we turn him on his side? Because, they get training on this stuff now. So it ain't, they can't be like, well, I had no idea. No, they get training. And the rookie, having just gotten the training, says, if he's saying he can't breathe, we should roll him on his side. That's the way I was trained. But then the other officers who've been out there on the street for a decade say, no, that's not what we're doing. I don't know. Look, I remember this training and they said, roll him. And no, we're not doing that. And the paramedics get there and you're like, oh my God. And he starts doing CPR. That's my CPR. That's a bad. I actually know how to do CPR. You don't do it like this. But yeah. See, GC says, I don't think people speak up enough. They sit back and see and watch that they know are wrong and they just won't say anything. And they need to say something compassionately or walk away and say, I'm not going to be a part of this. But he did speak up on a number of occasions. He did. Look, I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I see both sides. I see Black Lion's side. If I participate in the murder of a police officer, and all I do is hold his legs while somebody else beat him down and beat him to death, I'm not getting a lesser amount of time. Even if I'm like, hey, should we really be beating him to death? And they like, yeah. And I'm just stay there holding him. And then later on, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Don't you think that's enough? No, that ain't enough. And he keep beating him and I keep holding his legs. I'm going to jail for the same amount of time the dude that was raining blows down on him. I'm going to jail for the same amount of time. They're going to say, you participated. All four of y'all participated in it. So all four of y'all getting the same amount of time. Y'all all getting charged with the same thing. And y'all might get the death penalty. So I acknowledge that point of view. I acknowledge that point of view. In that situation, am I going to just jump up like, all right, I ain't participating in this no more? Because what might happen to me? Hold on, we killing this dude, right? You really think you get to just walk away in the middle of it? You try to walk away, it's going to be some consequences. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. You try to walk away, it's going to be some consequences. So I kind of got to hold his legs. I might try to talk some sense into him. We beat him. That's good enough. But I'm not allowed to just walk away. Otherwise, I know it's going to be some consequences. It's kind of same with the police. And to some degree, they just another gang. They wear the same colors, same uniforms. They work in concert. It's us against them. In some degree, they just another gang. And if you decide we killing this dude, and I'm like, I don't want to have nothing to do with that, there's going to be some consequences. I think it took a lot for him to actually speak up. Again, I don't believe he should get off scot-free. And I'm not sure that 2.5 years is enough time. But he shouldn't necessarily, at least in my opinion, as I sit here right now, he shouldn't necessarily get the same amount of time that Chauvin got. And maybe not even the same amount of time that the other two will get. Because if I recall, he was the only one who said, hey, let's turn him on his side. Hey, let's turn him on his side. Brian says, the thing is, speaking up is not enough. The ones physically safest to physically stop a cop murder is another cop. And since the cop is breaking the law, they have a duty. Okay, so he felt under pressure. Okay, so now you pay the consequences for not acting. But what my question is, what consequences? What consequences? The same consequences? I mean, are you know, Black Lion says they all should get the exact same thing. They all did the same crime. They participated in concert, and they should all get the same thing. And again, I understand it. And it's hard to argue against, but I also understand him getting less. So I'm just curious as to y'all thoughts on it. Curious about y'all thoughts on it. Anybody else got any thoughts before I move on to something else? Because I got like two more things that I want to throw out there that I want to get y'all thoughts on. Two more things. So anybody else got anything else on this? Going once? Going twice? All right. Switching gears. Totally different subject. This is kind of in my That's Nasty file. This is in my That's Nasty file. Elon Musk's father. He's 76. He confirms that he has a second child. He has a second child with his stepdaughter, who's 35. He has a second child with his stepdaughter that's 35. Now, on the surface, okay, that's bad. That's bad. It's bad. But then it gets worse. Because look, if I get married to a woman and she has a daughter who's of age, and whatever reason I start getting with her and we start kicking it, whatever, that's still bad. But we adults. We adults. You know, mama divorced me, whatever. We adults. But he got married to this girl's mama when she was 4. So he raised this child from 4. He raised this child from 4. Him and the mama get divorced. Him and the mama got kids together. And then he get with this girl. And at 35, now they have 2 children. They got a boy born in 2017, and now they got a girl born in 2019. He's just finally acknowledging this. I think that's some sexual predator stuff. That's some sexual predator stuff. Don't that kind of mean like you was looking at this little 4-year-old like a grown woman at 4? Or is it possible that you raised her and that's not even possible? I can't even stretch my imagination like that. I raised a girl who was not my biological child. And when I see that child now, when she is, I'm gonna get in trouble because I don't remember ages. She in her 30s. When I see her in her 30s, I still think of that little baby that I raised. She's my daughter. She's not anything that I can even look at sexually. I look at her the exact same that I look at my biological daughter. The exact same. And I try to think of what would have to happen in me for me to look at her and think, ooh, I want to hit. I would have to be, because again, I still think of her as that little girl. So I would have to be sexually attracted to little girls, even though she's a grown woman now, which I know kind of don't make sense, but Yeah, that's just terrible. It's terrible. And then he's talking about they don't live together. Says they don't live together. They're no longer living together because of their 41-year age gap. Says it's not practical. She's 35. He says eventually, if I'm still around, she might wind up back with me. He added, any man who marries a younger woman, even if you feel very sprightly, it's going to be nice for a while, but then there's a gap. And that gap is going to show itself. That's why you shouldn't be messing with, at 70 whatever years, 76 years old, a 35-year-old. And especially one that you raised from the age of 4. Just nasty. Just not pedophile. But she's a grown woman, still a pedophile. Yes, they have 2 kids together, but he has kids with her mama. He got 3 kids with the mama. So he got 3 kids with the mama and 2 kids with the daughter. I can't. I'm telling you, when I look at my daughter, which is why I'm saying pedophile, even though she's a grown woman. When I look at my daughter and I look at her, memories, every time I see her, I'm constantly flooded with memories of her as a little girl, from a baby to a little girl to a little teenager on up. I'm constantly bombarded with those issues of her, with those pictures of her in my mind. So in my head, in my mind, I still see that little girl when I look at her. And I imagine all parents are that way. I imagine all parents are that way. When you look at your child, you still see that little kid. Right. Right. Like they said, grooming. Randall says kind of creepy from a 35-year-old as well. Sounds to me like something was going on with them since she was a child. That's just nasty. It's just, and I say nasty, it's worse than nasty. But okay, I just wanted to point that out. Just point out that story. And then Dee Dee says, I just tuned in. Who are we talking about? Elon Musk's daddy. What's his name? It really don't matter. Errol. But he's Elon Musk's daddy. 76 years old. 2 kids with this 35-year-old. If that were the whole story, it's still creepy. If that were the whole story, 76, got 2 kids by a 35-year-old. That's still creepy. But when you add on there that he was married to her mama when she was 4. So basically he raised her from the age of 4. That just get worse. Jerica says the elephant story. What elephant story? I don't know what elephant story you're talking about. I don't know what elephant story you're talking about. Let me see. Did anybody see this video of this fight at Disney World? Did anybody see this video? They was wilding at Disney World. Like they was getting it in at Disney World. It looked like, as I'm looking at this video, it looked like it's a black family, like the whole family. It looked like it was a black family and a Latino family. Now, the story is, hold on, let me see if I can, The story, as it's told, is that this brawl, one of the guests, I guess from the what looks like either white or Latino family. The story is that this guest got in line. They were in line waiting for Mickey's Feel Her Magic when one of the members realized that they left their phone. So they exited the line. Red flag. They exited the line to get the phone. On their way back in to try to get back in their place in line, the other family, the black family, they don't say black family, but they black. They say the family in matching apparel. But I'm going to show you the video. The other family, the black family, wouldn't let her pass to get her place back in line, they say. So they start pushing back and forth, and then all hell broke loose. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this video where y'all can see it. Y'all know I'm not all that good with this. So give me just a moment. Hold on. See if I go. Oh, because I'm not using that camera. Okay, hold on. All right. And then let's see if we can make that full screen. And then if we can play. This is not the best camera.
I'm not fighting.
So, that was a lot. That was a lot. Okay, hold on. Thank you. All right. Yeah, that was a lot. And I'm asking the question now. If it's me and my family. Wouldn't you just let the young lady go back up and get her place back in line with the family? That's number one. I just go on. All right, you was with them, you forgot your phone, whatever. You step out of line. Now, of course, politely, before you step out of line, you're supposed to ask, oh, I forgot something. Is it all right if I get my place back in line? I forgot something. Is it all right if I get my place back in line? That's what you're supposed to ask. That's reasonable. That's reasonable. So if you didn't ask that, then maybe, but I would just go ahead. Pushing and shoving get to happening. I don't know. I would have been playing peacemaker. I would have been playing peacemaker until dude came running up and socked my sister, aunt, mother, whatever in the face. Once dude socked a female member of my family in the face, all bets is off. Ain't no more peacemaker. It's on. It's going down, and whatever happens, happens. But I think a lot of that could have been solved with just, like Jason says, communication. Not to mention, somebody said you pay all that money. Where is it? Where is it? I don't know. Somebody pay all that money to get kicked out. Just why to just okay, go ahead, take your spot back. Or security. She trying to cut in line. You know what I'm saying? We not up in Disney World, Disneyland, whichever one of them it is. We ain't up in there scrapping. We are not up in there scrapping. Jason said, I can tell you this. If my family there and you hit any females with us, you're going to be in the local ICU. Would have looked like a pack of male silverbacks jumped on you. Bridget, I'm with you. Let her back. Let her back in line with her family. Let her back in line with her family. What was that last video? I don't know. Like, yeah, just being courteous. Anthony says that happens a lot of time at Kroger. Jason want to know, where did this happen? It was either, hold on, let me see. Was it Disneyland or was it Disney World? Was that the Magic Kingdom? I think this was in California. But I don't really know the difference between the two. One is Disney World, one is Disneyland. I don't know the difference. But I think this was at the park in California, I believe. Yeah, I should make them a t-shirt. I went to Disney. All I got was a bloody nose. Jason says, play the video again. Let's see. Mickey was supposed to diffuse all of that. Genesis, I didn't know you were on today. You're so unpredictable. You missed the whole, like the first half hour of the show. I did explain why I wasn't on the rest of the week and why I may not be on a few days next week because of the whole tree situation. I'm not getting back into it, but this week was exceptionally unpredictable. Next week will be unpredictable, but then, well, I don't know about the week after that. Because I got to go do Gospel Superfest one of these weeks. And so I'll be in Columbus. So, but we'll get into that later. Disney World is in Orlando Disneyland is in Anaheim. Randall says it's on the news all over here in Florida. Okay. But yeah, it's wow. I'm not going to Kings Island fighting. I'm not going to Disney World, Disneyland, nowhere. I believe fighting is almost like last resort for stuff. You never know who got, something on them. But I do have to say, if you haul off and you sock one of the women in the family, I'm not Peacemaker no more. Get him. Forget everybody else. Forget what everybody else is doing. He just went and socked Aunt Gina. He's getting the brunt of everything. But I saw that story and thought, oh my goodness, they wilding at Walt Disney World. Like, no reason for that. No reason for that. Did anybody watch? I watched a part of the January 6th hearings last night. I watched a part of the January 6th hearings last night. And not that I didn't already know this. I think most of us knew this. But like, they legit tried to overturn the government. Like, they tried to take over the government. And I know a lot of y'all, or not a lot of y'all, a lot of people think, this ain't that big of a deal. I mean, they're kind of grandstanding. It's not a big deal. Just, it happened. We made it through it. Let it go. This is politics and so on and so forth. They tried to overthrow the government, y'all. I really don't know that a lot of people are taking this serious enough. And I'm not a big rah-rah America guy. But they tried to overthrow the government. And they was real about it. So they say that's the last of the hearings. I really believe Trump needs to be tried realistically for treason. And everybody who participated should be being tried with terrorism. Whatever you charge, aggravated terrorism. I don't know what the charge is, but whatever you would charge a terrorist with, that's what everybody who participated should be charged with. Because I know I was watching Rachel. I caught a little piece of Rachel, and she was saying that there is at least one person that they've decided to charge with terrorism, because what they did meets the statutory definition of terrorism. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. The unlawful use of violence and intimidation in the pursuit of political aims. The unlawful use of violence and intimidation, and it says especially against civilians, but in the pursuit of political aims. What they did by definition was terrorism. Terrorism. They should be charged. And yes, Donald Trump should be charged with inciting them. He should be charged with inciting them. He and Rudy Giuliani and everybody. Wouldn't that be ironic? Wouldn't that be ironic? Rudy Giuliani, the guy who really rose to, prominence as America's mayor in the wake of the 9/11 terrorist attack, being eventually charged with terrorism. But that's what he did. That's what he did. He provoked those people, ginned them up. It all started with him lying about not winning the election. Got them all riled up, sent them down to the Capitol, knowing that they had weapons and what their intent was. They knew what their intent was. They follow those Twitter accounts and whatnot. They knew what the intent was. Wouldn't that be ironic? It would be easier to charge Trump with conspiracy than it would be to actually charge him with treason and sedition. You're right. You're right. But of course, the conspiracy is the conspiracy to commit treason, sedition, acts of terror. But more than anything, I think Rudy, I like the irony of that. He was the general of the army that ran our capital. He should be imprisoned. He should. He should. Well, all right, y'all. I got to get ready to get out of here. I got about 5 minutes left. This is Friday. I'll do this again just because. So if you got any questions, I'll answer any questions that you have. Not that I don't do that the entire show, but if you got any questions, you can shoot them to me. Of course, you can call. I want everybody to enjoy your weekend. Have a great, whether you go to the festival or don't go to the festival. If you go downtown to the Black Taste of Cincinnati or the Taste of Black Cincinnati or whatever the appropriate name is, I'm talking about Black Taste, or is it still Ujima Sensibration? Is that still? No, that's not it. Festival 513, right down there on the around the stadium. If you go to that, have a good time. Have a good time. Don't be out there fighting. Don't be out there even being baited into a fight. Look, I'm of the mind from now on, I'm a punk. From now on, I'm just a punk. I'm not fighting you. I mean, unless, what I'm saying, you do something and I have to defend myself, I ain't fighting nobody. I ain't even really arguing with nobody. None of that kind of stuff. None of that. Not doing it. So go, enjoy yourself, have a good time. Question, someone wants to know, have I listened to Raven's show yet? I haven't. Her first show, I was in Arizona, and so I missed that. I don't remember exactly what was going on this Saturday that I missed it, but I will definitely check her show out tomorrow. Don't forget to check her show out if you haven't checked it out. But I'll definitely check her show out tomorrow. Wyatt wants to know, how can a group of people take over the Capitol without any weapons? They had weapons. They had weapons. I saw them with weapons. I saw them use weapons. So they did have weapons. Somebody said the festival is going to be a haven for COVID-19. Mask up. I'll be honest. I've kind of stopped wearing my mask. I think I probably need to get back to it. But I've stopped. I think I'm like a lot of people in that I kind of feel like COVID is over, even though it ain't. But that's kind of the feel you get because we've gone back to normal. So I kind of feel like COVID is over, even though I know it's not. Phyllis says, Like the new backdrop. Love and missing the black. Excellent screen backdrop. Please bring it back. I had to do my own. I have to hold on. I have to tell this little story. That was a someone had put that together on one of the sites, and I had saw it, and I did some editing to it because there's a few people that they had put in there that I was like, that's not excellent. So I had to pull a few people out, and so I was running it. And then I kept getting dinged for copyright infringement. And they were like, a portion of your video has been muted for copyright infringement. I'm like, I ain't play no music. I ain't do nothing. How y'all? And it dawned on me, oh, it's the video. So I have to put together my own video, which I have the ability to do. And I probably should have did in the first place. So that's why I decided to change it. And instead, I'm the king of talk. So I just roll with kings. So, I got the two kings back there. The other day it was the playing cards, kings. So I'll until I put together my video, there'll probably be some kings behind me of some sort. Just, as the king of talk, I think it's appropriate. But that's why I'm no longer rolling with that backdrop. So I'll do that. Hold on, let me see. It says, Brendan says, I woke up late. I only got 15 minutes of the experiment experience. Everyone have a good weekend. Yes, have a great weekend. Everybody's telling people. Wyatt says, I miss the weapons. I guess the flagpoles and military attire counts. But yeah, if you whacking somebody with a flagpole, that is a weapon. If you got bear spray, that's a weapon. If you bashing people and things with your helmet, that's a weapon. If you got sticks and bats, that's a weapon. And some of them even had firearms. That's a weapon. So yeah, they had just because they didn't actually shoot them doesn't mean they didn't have them. And they did. They had a number of weapons. They had a number of weapons. Jenna says, I still wear my mask in any close quarters or buildings outside of my home. Jeannie says, we have new mask mandates. Okay. Crystal says she'll be there ready to test everyone. And I haven't gotten a test for coronavirus since well, that's not true. I did get sick at one point. Y'all know when I got sick and I lost my voice not too long ago, I did go get tested for coronavirus, and I did not have coronavirus. How they had a new normal, now it's back to the same normal. Walmart still closed at 11 p.m. We're not back to normal till I can go shopping at 3 a.m. I honestly didn't know that stores were not. I was somewhere and I called Mrs. Livingston because this is what I do anytime I'm out and about and I'm on my way home. I called Mrs. Livingston and said, do you need me to bring anything? That's when if I leave church, and I mean, wherever I am, I go to church and I just set up something for 5 minutes. When I leave, I call home and I say, hey, baby, I'm on my way home. You need me to bring you anything? It was late. And I asked her, you need me to bring you anything? And she was like, what would you bring me? And I'm like, anything. Anything you need, I'll go get it. And she was like, go get it where? And I'm like, anywhere. You need some grocery store. You need something from Meijer or, Walmart or anything. And she was like, everything is closed. And I'm like, Meijer and those places, they open 24 hours. She was like, they ain't been open 24 hours since COVID hit. I was like, really? She was like, yeah. I'm not a big go out 3 o'clock in the morning shopping type of dude anyway. So, I didn't know that until, was that yesterday? It wasn't yesterday. It was day before yesterday. I didn't know that until day before yesterday. I did not know that until day before yesterday. Anthony says, Bannon convicted of contempt charges. Just in. All right. And will he get those? He was facing 2 years. So He should probably get 2 years. He should probably get 2 years. But all right, y'all, my time is up. It is time for me to get out of here. I appreciate y'all finding me today. Again, I know I was spotty. Spotty ain't even the word for it. I did Monday and Friday. And but y'all all know why. Y'all all know why. But I know White Castle don't stay open. That I know. I will go to White Castle at 2:00 in the morning. But I'll try to do a little better next week, even though, again, I can't promise because I still got stuff to do back there and I got to rent the lift and everything. But I'll try to keep y'all abreast of what's going on. I will be here Monday, or at least I have every intention on being here Monday. The King and I podcast with Wyatt. And don't forget, tentatively, if I can get the words out, we're tentatively scheduled August 1st to do a live broadcast at Eli's on Findlay Market from 1 to 3. So make tentative plans to come and check us out. If something changes, one of us or both of us will let you know. If something changes, one or both of us will let you know. But plan to come down, just come and say hi. Y'all know me. I like to say, hey, even if you just come in, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? And that be that. But come and say hi. Come and say hi. Have something to eat. Something to eat. Support the people that support us. It'll be, that'll be cool. But other than that, I appreciate y'all for finding me, for hanging out with me. I'm pretty sure Wyatt will be on at 5:00. He'll be on at 5:00. So check him out, Wyatt Live. The Drive, Wyatt Drive Live at 5. He got some fancy name for it. I don't know. Repeat that again. Where will you be? Tentatively, we are scheduled August 1st to be at Eli's Barbecue on Findlay Market. Eli's Barbecue, Findlay Market, 1 to 3. 1 to 3. Tentatively. If something changes, we will let you know. But for right now, we plan on being there August 1st from 1 to 3. That's a Monday. 1 to 3, Findlay Market, Eli's Barbecue. All right? All right. All right. I guess that's it. I got to get out of here. I do still got to go deal with that tree. But I wasn't going to not do a show today because of the tree. That tree don't run me. I don't even know what that means. Until next time, I hope something amazing happens to every single one of y'all. And I hope it happened today. Until next time, it's been an afternoon experiment. I'm Emanuel Livingston. I'm out, y'all. Peace.